Hi guys, Hari here, doing another video. This will actually be the second time. It's the second time I've recorded a video because something got screwed up. But anyway, I hope that just makes the video better rather than worse. So, I had a request in the forums to do a Pharaoh video. So I kind of wanted to do one of those. I recorded one video before this, but it was Blood Hunter, which isn't terribly exciting. Not to mention, I don't think showing people how to correctly play Blood Hunter matters, when I don't really think Blood Hunter should be played very much, regardless. I had actually considered doing all pick to play Pharaoh, but I really hate picking an all pick because I'm obsessed with efficiency, and the idea of starting behind in gold just kills me. And randoming a Pharaoh and all pick seemed a little bit less likely than picking it up in a single draft. So here we see there's a Pharaoh on the team, and it would be pretty easy for me to swap for. I could play Glacius here, which I wouldn't mind, but I'd kind of rather get the Pharaoh. So I'd like to swap the Glacius for Orange's Pharaoh and have them do a Glacius Armadon lane, because that's a really solid lane. That doesn't seem to be working out initially, so I was just going to tree mid, which is not really the best thing in the world, but whatever. But then they decided to do the swap, just do Glacius Madman instead of Glacius Armadon, which is still pretty good. So it works out that I will, after all, get Pharaoh and get to go mid with him, giving us some pretty solid lanes. Glacius Madman's fine, solid babysitter with pretty good hard carry. And then Magmus Valk top is just another one of those solid aggressive duels that also contains a semi-carry. So overall, very good lanes, and we get to go with our Pharaoh in mid. So an important thing to look at here, as we're at the load screen, is actually what heroes are on the opposing team. This matters for mid. Well, I mean, it matters in every game, but it's especially important for mid because it's actually going to affect how we buy items initially. Which is to say, they have as possible mid candidates, reasonable mid candidates, probably expecting Arachna, Dr. Repulsor, and maybe Moon Queen, but more likely than not, Arachna and Dr. Repulsor. This means we're going to have a ranged mid, which means we're actually going to want to buy a shield on a melee hero, pretty much always. A few possible exceptions being someone like Pebbles, just because you want to be able to combo them at level 2, have enough mana for both abilities. But anyway, like for example, in the last game, I played Blood Hunter, but their most likely mid candidates were Blacksmith or Gladiator. So because of this, I didn't buy a shield, because having a shield against melee isn't too important. Melee, you might trade hits occasionally, but not really that much. Against the range, they're really going to try to auto-attack, harass you out of the lane, and therefore a shield will be invaluable. So if I was going up against a melee hero here, even with Pharaoh, I would probably not buy the shield, but because I expect Arachna or Dr. Repulsor mid, I am going to get the shield. So yeah, that's that. You'll see that I actually haven't picked up any abilities yet. You can see me mousing over Torrent Soul, which is the most likely ability to start with, but not necessarily. Because if we are to catch them here, I might Wall of Mummies to set up a gank, like set up a Valkyrie arrow would be great, or something like that. We see Arachna is actually here, so I was right about the mid, and happy that I got the shield. So I'm just going to go back up on top of this cliff. Actually, we caught a glimpse of one of them on the minimap here, so I grabbed Tormented Soul so that I can spot to see if they're coming to, how many people are going to come to the rune. The ward actually ends up revealing them instead of the Tormented Soul, so it didn't really do too much. But it's alright, because with 3 there, we're not going to be going in with Wall of Mummies anyway. Magmus does do a little ballsy move here, but I'm pretty happy for it. He forces the Hammerstorm to take the double damage rune, although the Hammerstorm wasn't really forced to take it. Maybe he could have not, but it was good for me, because the Arachna getting the double damage rune would be terrible. Basically mean, like, the first 2 creep waves I would be able to do nothing, because I can't really move anywhere near the creep wave as a melee hero with a double damage rune. Anyway, we can see that Valkyrie is actually coming mid to kind of harass Arachna for us a little bit. It certainly doesn't hurt. Not exactly my initial plan. I would normally plan just to be able to handle Arachna by myself, but Valkyrie's doing this for some reason, which, like I said, can't really complain about. It helps me get a little bit of farm, which lets me get closer to my bottle sooner, which is just really important. The bottle will let me stay in the lane so much more, because I can use mana to harass with Tormented Soul and to last hit, and then I can obviously use the bottle to heal up. Normally I wouldn't. I would just focus on last hitting, which is what I should have been doing, but the Arachna did move up pretty far, so I went up to kind of help out a little bit. I actually probably should have expected her to throw on a health potion there, so I probably should have Tormented Souled her and pulled off the health potion. That would have been great. I wasn't really paying that much attention though instead, and just ended up last hitting not being optimal, which is kind of unfortunate, but I'll have to get past it. So we're just going to focus on, deny is really not being very important at all, only if I have an extremely easy time getting a deny. Here you can actually see I'm getting hit for a while on top of this hill, which is kind of strange. I feel like the line of sight from the hill should have blocked him before he got that many hits in on me. So it's possible they have a ward, but it seems unlikely. We didn't really see anyone come up and ward, and in a pub game like this, warding middle is pretty rare. I mean, it's good against a melee hero because it lets you see them so that they can't use the hill to you fog line of sight, which is something a melee hero ideally wants to do so they can sneak in and get some last hits. But whatever. So as I was saying, we're really not going to prioritize denies at all. Our health is much more important than denies here, and last hits are much more important than our health and denies. To a certain point, obviously, with the health, but just because we really need to rush that bottle. So we're only really taking a last hit when we get the chance. There, I actually hotkeyed the courier too. I always make sure I do that before the opportunity to get the bottle. I hadn't done it in the beginning of the game, which I would normally do, just because of how important it'll be for me to get that bottle myself initially or immediately. So I'm just going to try to snag one more last hit here using Tormented Soul. Now I have not enough for my bottle, and I'm going to immediately send it myself. With pretty good timing, hopefully able to pick up the 2-minute rune spawn, which should still be sitting in the bottom, and before 4 minutes, so that I can maximize the amount of runes I get, increase my battle spam to increase my harass. The Arachna's playing pretty well, playing quite aggressive, for good reason, because there's not really too much I can do. I pretty much just have to use, to run soul to last hit and to harass when I get the opportunity. I have quite a bit of mana. Glacius kind of helps with that, so I should be able to Tormented Soul spam a lot. Like there, I'm not even using it for last hit. My mana's just almost full. I'm just using it to kind of harass her, force her back a little bit, and get ready to bottle the 2-minute room before the 4 minutes. So yeah, here I think about going to grab it. Decide maybe I should get one more creep wave in. I've got enough time. I could certainly use the experience and maybe a little bit of gold. I've certainly got the mana to Torment Soul a little bit more. I double checked there that the rune's not top because it looked like Arachna was going to run top, but then she thought twice about it. So now the wave is basically dead except for one archer, which is not too significant. And as soon as I get that experience, I can run bottling up on the way to go pick up the rune. It could be a little premature to bottle on the way because I'm not being efficient with my mana, and if one of them had grabbed a rune bottom, I would be in trouble, but I don't think one of the bottom people ever left. I think I was kind of watching them out. So anyway, it's a haste rune, and their bottom lane is pushed pretty far forward, so I'm going to come gank them, popping the haste rune right away. I could throw in Tormented Soul before, but that might kind of give my coming in away, so I'm going to kind of wait to set up a Tormented Soul that I can hit both of them with. So I kind of go on the Vindicator here because he's further back, while my teammates can kind of focus on the Moonqueen who's further up, and then once, like I said, they were both near each other, I was able to hit an easy Tormented Soul. Happy to give Orange the kill here since he's the carry, and then run back to mid. You'll see I actually turn around here because Yellow died. I actually didn't remember what color Arachna was, and I had just called her missing right as Yellow died, so I thought there was a chance that she'd kind of maybe followed me bottom and emerged from the woods just in time to kill Yellow, but it actually turned out it was the creeps, so that's why I turned back around. You'll see I'm not making the same mistakes I did before by getting items as quickly as possible, especially my boots, which are definitely important. Kind of a little late with the Tormented Soul there, but at the same time trying to push this lane up because I want to go grab that DD rune, which is top. So yeah, just going to kind of hang out in this lane a little bit. It's important for me to get 6. I thought about running to go get the rune there, but there's so many creeps they would have followed me, which would have put me in a bad spot with Arachna, who could potentially kite me with her slow. So instead, I'm just going to come back to the lane, finish off those creeps at the tower, and then once they're dead, yeah, go grab the DD rune. Or I should, but I guess maybe I figured that I have enough mana. I can afford to get one more wave, which is a little greedy, but you'll see that anytime that the Arachna kind of tries to wander north, I do it as well, so that just in case she were to go for the rune, I could cut her off probably by ulting and mummy walling, potentially, because getting that DD rune is pretty important. There, enough of the creeps are dead, so it's time to go grab the rune. Looking top, because after grabbing a top rune, that's the lane I'd ideally like to gank. They're pushed pretty far back, and I have max mana, so I just throw a Tormented Soul up there to harass them, and return to my lane. Arachna actually goes top now, maybe chasing after me, or maybe to gank. I see the Invis Room, so I have to ult in quickly to stop her from grabbing it, because that would prevent me from killing her. But now I have my double damage up. And first I use the Hellfire for basically as long as possible to slow her, and basically once the Hellfire's done, it's time to throw up the Mummy Wall and just beat down So kind of maximizing the amount of time I have both of those to prevent her from getting somewhere. And that's how we get the kill. So that was kind of just, quick reaction time, seeing that Invis rune, which is ideally like the worst thing that could have spawned there if it had been anything, well, not anything else, I guess, because haste is still kind of bad, and even double damage could have been bad, because then maybe she could have taken me down. But it's just kind of unfortunate to see the rune spawn there, right when I wanted to gank her at the rune spawn. So it kind of forced me to act a little bit sooner than I'd like to, use my abilities kind of ineffectively. See, they like for me to gank bottom here, and Pharaoh playing mid obviously is all about ganking, but it's also about, the reason you have him mid is so that he can quickly get his ultimate. So I'm kind of going to wait just a little bit longer and until my ultimate will be off cooldown by the time I get down there. No reason not to, just get a little more experience in gold while I have the chance sitting mid. Now my ultimate cooldown is down to 10 seconds left, so by the time I make it bottom, my ultimate should be ready. So we're going to try to set up a gank on them. I'm going to wait for yellow to get back. I could throw a Tormented Soul now, but I don't want to scare them off. And possibly throwing Tormented Soul would remind them that I could be coming through the river, and it might put one of them so low that they're deciding to back up the tower. So I'm just going to wait until I get behind them where they can no longer escape. And when yellow's in position, so yeah, now yellow's in position and I'm behind them, they really have no choice, so I throw the Tormented Soul to hit both of them and come in from behind. Trapping the first one that comes and separating them while my teammates beat up